targeting everybody with common sense as like racist now, and I'm just like, this is so fucking stupid. Just like we clearly have a problem in the UK. We have a major problem. It's not racist to say that because it's in front of our fucking eyes. You know, and that's essentially what the British people are waking up to. That's why we have so many protests going on. Literally, I think something like over 1 million English flags have like gone up over England in the past like week and a bit, and they're just hanging them like on everywhere they can. They're painting roundabouts, the English flag on roundabouts. They're done, you know. And yeah, I don't blame them. Like they're fucking done. It's crazy how at the end of the line this country has gotten. And I'm just like watching in front of me. And I'm just like, I just got to get the fuck out of here and go to like a sane country because they're literally insane at this point.
So maybe not to the whole violence thing, like that is what you were experiencing. I decided to come back because I just have to kind of make a statement that it is interesting that the UK is experiencing this, and also a lot more people are becoming vocal. I'm very happy for that they're becoming more vocal. It is interesting, though, that this kind of stuff has been happening for a really long time. Maybe not like the grooming, whatever things, but...
No, the grooming gang's been going on for 30 years now.
Yeah.
At least like since it's been tracked.
Yeah, and you know the same thing is kind of just the violence against females, the everyday behavior. I mean, you've seen it on Clubhouse. It's hard to have for women to even have a voice and not get interrupted, not to get. It's just I have to fight in order to be heard, and I just won't anymore. Depending on the audience, depending on the what do you call the subject. If it's something that's very important to me, but most of the time, even if it isn't important, a subject that's very important to me, it's not. People won't listen anyways. You have to know your audience. You know, you have to know like, I know what I think. I know what I feel. Does anybody else care? Does anybody else want to hear it? And when I know that they don't, then I won't. It's as simple as that, because it doesn't matter. And there's a time for stating and for speaking, and there's a time for listening. And most of the time, the people here on Clubhouse, and it is what it is. It's not a complaint because I'm here, obviously. So, and not in this room either. But most of it is people wanting to fight, to get a rise, to get that dopamine, and also to fight to get heard. And luckily, there's more rooms now, finally, of people speaking some very important things and finally listening to each other, and that's really beautiful. And there's a whole lot of other ones that are fighting and that nonsense and people like that, because everybody. It seems that a lot of people really love the Jerry Springer stuff, so that's always going to exist. But yeah, and I'll close this so I don't drone on. That there's everybody who makes decisions, like everybody in this room who's made a decision today to voice, to support women, it's very appreciated. It's appreciated too, because the fact is that I'm going to go ahead and say we, because almost every woman I talk to, they just get tired of having to fight so hard to talk, just to talk and to share their perspectives, and it's valuable, and it's getting lost. So, the fact that there's others who will support them, and I'm not saying like support without reason, like absolutely criticize, absolutely question things like that, but to just outwardly shut people down just because you don't like that happens on the daily. Thanks for letting me help.
Really quickly, just wanted to say good morning to Hakeem.
Hi, Hakima. How are you?
Good morning. Hey, Sheriff Deputy. Good morning, everyone. I'm pretty good. How you guys doing this morning?
Doing pretty good.
Fabulous.
Happy Friday Eve, y'all.
Happy Friday Eve was great.
I have to play these head games with myself in anticipation of the weekend.
Yeah, everybody here, I hope you heard that. Oops. I hope you heard that. Just thank you, everybody. Just thank you for supporting the women and everybody and the fellow men who are willing to listen. It's just thank you.
I mean, Kristen, I'll be honest. I go into other rooms and, I'll be obnoxious as fuck and like talk over people and stuff like that. But I mean, I highly respect the moderators in the room, and I know how to act and behave when I'm in a room where like this kind of stuff really matters. So I think that's kind of it,
I mean, I'm here to learn more than anything, to be honest with you. And I learned a shit ton in this conversation. I had no clue. I mean, I heard random things. I didn't know really what they meant. I never really looked into them. And you just explained a lot to me. I thought it was super helpful.
George, I sent you an invite. I see your hand raised. Good morning.
Good morning. I didn't realize I had raised my hand.
No worries.
Yo, AI though. She's GPT-5. It takes you places. It's a good teacher and a good learner. I'm just waking up.
So how are you doing, Hakima?
Pretty good. How about you, Kristen?
I'm good. Or Devin, or my friend, if you guys have anything to share.
Serendipity. Do you realize that that interaction with Jarl this morning is the most contentious interaction that this room has had in like a week? And that says a lot about this room, because that wasn't very bad. And that's literally the worst that we've had. Isn't that crazy? This room is super chill.
That could be a good or a bad thing, Mike. We got to give the people what they want to see.
That's true. Depends if you're going for audience size or
Charles, in spite of Charles' extremely critical opinions of me when I have never been anything but hospitable to him, Charles is always welcome to come on this stage and spit his opinions.
I just wouldn't leave it at melanated people. It is in playing the same role or different roles on melanated people. So I appreciate Nye putting herself out there and stating such a thing. But I want to push back on that, so to speak, because I definitely hear white people supporting idiotic ideas. So I just wanted to add that.
Well, thank you, Devin. I'm not sure what you were referring to, but when I said brown-faced people, I was specifically referring to the groomer gangs in the UK. As far as I know, according to the media, These aren't white folks harboring these girls. And I'm not saying that white men or white people aren't, and we don't have our criminals in the sex trafficking and rape area. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the UK and the UK media has specifically noted that the groomer gangs are these immigrants. And these immigrants are just so happen to be brown-faced folks from, Muslim countries and African countries. But I think the groomer gangs specifically are these kind of Arab Muslim types.
I guess it's just the last person one interacted with, which leaves an impression. I hear white people recently say pretty. It's basically leftists that I find supportive of these things. I mean, most of the population must have elected these people to government, and many of them, most of them, I don't know what the population breakdown is in Great Britain, but a substantial portion of white people voted people into office who tolerate these crimes.
I think the African American community has been voting leftists for decades, as far as I understand, by huge margins.
But nobody here is that stupid to fucking, hey, let's start covering this up. It's like a cultural issue. This is not a debate. It's not about race. It's not about the color of the skin. It's about what kind of culture are you accepting in your fucking country. And it's disgusting that we're not saying, hey, let's prosecute these people. The UK signed into a stupid treaty in the 1960s that prevents them from being able to deport any of these people. So that's part of the bigger problem. That Germany and all these other countries that fucked around and found out because they were colonists and imperialists. It's like, hey, you fucked around. Now people are saying, hey, you have to really have a sense of responsibility. You have to give back to those societies, help those people. Well, you keep bringing in the wrong kind of people. You're not really doing background checks. You're not really doing any of these things. And it's just because you feel guilty. You should be responsible not only to the people that you've displaced around the world, but to the people that you have a responsibility to in your own country. And it's a shame because 2 years ago I wanted to work in fucking England, but this kind of shit just kept coming up, and I was like, okay, you know what, this is not really the kind of place. And it's like a bank wanted to pay £400,000 for us to go work there, and it's like, no, I'd rather not. I'd rather not go work in the fucking UK because it's disgusting like that. And I'm not saying people are disgusting. I'm saying the culture has collapsed, and you no longer have safety. You have people being harassed, and like that little Scottish girl, that little fucking Scottish girl who's like, yo, I got a knife and a little pickaxe. When it comes to that, that's when I've had enough. That's fucking
I know, man. I know. I moved here 3 years ago. By the way, if you had gotten a $400,000 banking job, the amount of taxes that you pay, you'd probably walk away with about $180,000 a year. It's like fucking insane how much they're taxing people on like variable rates. So if you like earn more, you get taxed more. It's like, but it's like insane amounts of it. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, that little girl, I mean, it's gone so viral that like the UK can't like cover this up anymore. They've been trying to cover it up for years. Their whole narrative is falling apart. And I mean, did you hear about the Lucy Connolly woman who like went to prison for like a longer term than like literal rapists in this country because she said, for all I care, like burn the hotels down or whatever on social media? Like that case is obscene. Got sentenced to prison for like 31 months and rapists are getting out like in 24. It's a completely backwards, fucked up system here. And we're just looking to get out now. My wife and I are trying to we have an infant daughter. We don't want to be here. We don't feel safe with our daughter growing up here.
I'm just interjecting real quick. Hey, Io and Dr. J, welcome to the state.
Yay!
To the chat, Celeste, I would say I don't even know. I don't know if it's incompetence at this point or if it's on purpose, but it's getting pretty close to like, being on purpose at this point. It's just like obscene what's going on here. And I mean, this is the thing, is the British people are at the end of their rope. They're not taking it any longer, and this is why we have like nationwide protests every week. I mean, if I don't mean to go back on the grooming gang things, but there was an independent report on it saying that there are actually, instead of 50 towns and cities affected, it's actually closer to 85 after they investigated it, and that they're still ongoing. They haven't been tracked down. They haven't been prosecuted. Most of these guys that have done this they're still active in tons of regions. So the police don't want to do anything about it, and this is why the people in the UK are so fucking done. And this is why I'm getting the hell out of this country, because this is the most inept thing I've ever seen in my life, and it's crazy.
Ewan, I have a question for you. So you mentioned that the Conservative Party in England, that AOC would fit in nicely, and that's how liberal it really is kind of skewed there. Do you think that can you correlate that with the idea that America is obviously on a pushback toward hyper-liberalism and, extreme liberal politics when it comes to like fighting back on transgender agenda and like the goofy stuff that politics have taken us to in America. So we're on a trend of fighting back against that. Would you say there's a correlation between where extreme liberal politics can take us in the United States and what London is seeing today?
I think that the UK, the people that live in the UK are actually overwhelmingly conservative. So that's like the weirdest part. Like the Labour Party, when they got voted in, they got a majority government, but something like 19% of the country voted. So only 19% of a country gave them the majority. Just so few people voted for the Tories because they were done, right? So I actually think that there's going to be a massive shift in the way that the government functions here very soon, because I think that I think democratically there's going to be a major shift in things coming soon.
Kind of like the Trump crackdown on immigration and the huge cultural shift that Trump's trying to put in effect to fight the liberal agenda in the United States. Kind of the same thing on the horizon for England.
They're going to deport like 7 million people.
They relate. Like, if anything, I mean, we can all agree that Trump is like a disruptor in chief, right? He's disrupting the status quo, and it sounds like that's what England needs at this point.
Oh, dude, like that times 100 to be honest.
They're just afraid of being called racist. That's the problem. In England, if there's like a specific hate speech law that says, hey, it doesn't matter that you don't think somebody is racist. If the victim thinks it was racist or hate speech, it automatically is. It's the stupidest law. In America, the qualification in the law says if a reasonable person says it's hate speech, then maybe a jury would vote that because that's the condition they would have to follow. In England, it's the victim, which is the stupidest thing. I'm like, I know you guys are all sensitive. You had imperialism. You had your fucking empire. You lost it. But you can't have stupid laws like that. Canada also swung that way. Living in Canada, I can tell you that the hate speech laws lean a little bit in the direction of the UK. And because we're so close to the US, that the laws in the US make so much more sense. They just do. It's like, hey, a reasonable person, that sounds reasonable. But when you remove that condition from the law and you just start saying, hey, everybody can start saying that everything's racist, then that word loses meaning and you get evil trampling over innocent people.
Jarl says that Canada, in the chat, he says, we don't have hate speech laws, moron. That's what he said to what you're saying about Canada.
Unfortunately, we do. Yeah, unfortunately, we do. Yeah. I'll even put the reference in if you want.
Up to 5 years in prison.
Yeah. It's pretty strict, actually.
Yeah, just to quickly chime in, I must admit, I was kind of fascinated by the conversation vis-a-vis the grooming gangs and you, and I just wanted to, I presume that Ewan is in the UK, but with the hate speech thing, right, as European, we kind of get a little bit exasperated with you Americans seemingly thinking that you have an absolutist position on this, and that the American definition of free speech and hate speech is the definition of hate speech and free speech. And the telling thing about what you just said, Io, in in what you just said is imperialism. But if we scratch that, you know, in living memory, there was a genocidal war which was fought in Europe. And one of the reasons why that war was fought was because of the hate speech spewed by the leader of Germany for some 12 years before that. So there is a heightened sense of sensitivity, around it in Europe. And if you exclude that, then you don't understand the reason why so many European countries have laws around hate speech. Could they maybe be modified? Probably, right? But you've got to start from that position to understand it.
I agree. And if you compare the rape statistics of the year 2000 to the year 2023 and look at countries like Poland, UK, Germany, and France, I don't know what the fuck Poland is doing. I come from Poland. I'm a Polish Jew, so I agree with everything you're saying. Like, I don't tell Polish people that I'm a Jew because it makes the whole fucking conversation awkward. But yes, I agree that there's, like, you know, very, very bad things have happened in Europe, even in recent memory, even in the collective memory of people. But there's something to be said about, hey, when children are being raped at a disproportionate level, then something needs to happen. Either the laws need to change or England needs to leave the treaty that says, hey, they're not going to deport people even if they're criminals. That's my contention. That there is a law, a provision. I'll give you the provision in a second. But if you can comment on that, that would be...
Okay. Well, I think you're slightly conflating two things. I don't claim to be any expert on the issue of the grooming gangs in the UK. I'm no expert, so that's a big caveat I'm throwing in at the start. But the vast majority of those grooming gangs and the heinous, disgusting grooming that was going on would be done by British citizens. So saying that we're going to deport them all, there was no legal basis to deport them from Britain to anywhere else. Has there been some isolated incidents of relatively recent migrants raping girls in the UK? Yes, but the vast majority of these grooming gangs, which has been going back for some 20 years, when I forget which newspaper first uncovered the systematic patterns that were happening in these northern towns, they're all of British citizens of a certain ethnicity, I will grant you that, and a certain ethnicity of a certain religion in a certain specific bit of a certain country. It really can be narrowed down, but they were British citizens.
Royfeld, before you were in the room, Ewan was talking about the those rape gangs and the grooming gangs, and he said he believed that the reason the government has enabled them for so long is that liberal politics have gotten to the point where they are more worried about being called racists than they are about protecting the safety of children. What do you say about that?
It's a more complex question than that. Again, I'm no expert on this, but the first time that this, again, disgusting crime kind of came to the public fore was about 20 years ago. I think it was the Times newspaper that first reported on it. There were lots of local newspapers that were reporting on it, but it was suppressed by some bits of local media, and then it didn't quite make the national media because of certain sensibilities, because the pattern around this was a certain ethnicity, of a certain religion, of a certain specific bit of a certain country, and people were
what is that?
some people were uncomfortable about that.
What is that? What is that population? Like the certain bit. What is that for those?
Pakistani Muslims, I think.
Yeah, but it's more specific than that. They're from Kashmir. Yeah, it's Kashmir. Okay. It's a specific region of Pakistan, and because of certain local community leaders, etc. These people initially, social workers were not prosecuting and going after these men in the way that they should have, because the girls were poor and